and try to do that with cash and gold. It's just not feasible. And Roger has done an incredible of damage to Bitcoin. It's really, really, really sad. So first of all, the block size wars proves that Bitcoin can't be hijacked. So his entire scheme to frame it as a hijacking of Bitcoin not only is wrong, but is the complete opposite of what happened, because he tried to fucking hijack Bitcoin and he failed, right? That's what actually happened. And by the way, like, I was there, and that's how I became a Bitcoin influencer, by the way, like, quote. Because before the block size wars, I mean, I was kind of like known because I was running the Bitcoin embassy and the Bitcoin meetup in Montreal. And I was like in the space a little bit, but like I wasn't like, really consequential before. I don't know, maybe I'm misrepresenting myself, but I definitely like became a prominent voice for the cypherpunk side of Bitcoin versus the corporate side of Bitcoin. And Roger was on the corporate side of Bitcoin. Right. So Roger was allied with Coinbase, with blockchain.info, with BitPay. Roger was allied with Barry Silbert and the Digital Currency Group, ETFs. Roger was Wall Street. Roger was the big Chinese mining firms. Roger was Silicon Valley money investors. He was the establishment trying to hijack Bitcoin because he wanted Bitcoin to change. And he thought that he was so important because he was Bitcoin Jesus. And a lot of credit goes to him for what he did in Bitcoin early on. And he was full of self-importance. He said, hey, I want Bitcoin to change. How does he want Bitcoin to change? He wants Bitcoin to compromise. So what he wanted was to change the rules of Bitcoin, which is the one thing that makes Bitcoin unique, is that the rules cannot change. Because if the rules can't change, then the question arises, who decides what the new rules are? Okay, now we need to have a governance mechanism to change the rules. Who is part of that governance mechanism? Well, in Roger's mind, it's him and his fucking cronies from Wall Street and Silicon Valley. So he wants to change the rules of Bitcoin in order to make Bitcoin more centralized, but cheaper and faster to use. Which is not even something that he would have achieved, but that's what he wanted to achieve. Mm-hmm. So not only his idea would not have worked, his idea was, let's compromise on the fact that Bitcoin is not governable. Let's make Bitcoin governable. Let's put me and my friends at the top, and let's change the rules to achieve a goal which is slightly lower transaction fees. He tried to hijack Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. What we demonstrated the cypherpunk side, and that's how I became, for example, friends with Samson and Blockstream. That's why a lot of us, by the way, like you see all these OG cypherpunk people, mm-hmm. like why are we all friends? It's through this camaraderie where we're like, we need to stop this hijacking of Bitcoin through this cypherpunk technological means. So there was a conflict, and obviously, even though they had all the money and the power, we had the technology and the resolve. We won. He lost. He lost a lot of money because of that, an insane level of money, an unfathomable level of money. He still has a lot, but he lost a lot of money because of his failed coup d'etat against Bitcoin. And he's bitter and resentful, and he's trying to get you bitter and resentful like him. Fuck Roger Ver, okay? Fuck this guy. Like, he was one of my heroes because when I got into Bitcoin, I was fanboy of Roger. The damage that he has done by convincing people that Bitcoin is hijack erases all of his previous advocacy. And I'm sorry to say, fuck this guy. He's trying to sell you something else.
Yeah.
He's trying to sell you his new Bitcoin.
Right.
Right. And he's bitter and resentful. So fuck this guy.
And it doesn't work either.
And it doesn't work.
It's not working for him,
right?
Because there is nothing to do with what he's trying to sell.
And like, Roger is right because he advocates for individual freedom, free market. He's right about a lot of things. So it's tempting to believe Roger because he's well spoken and he's dedicated and he's motivated for human freedom and free markets. But when it comes to Bitcoin, he's a fucking moron, okay? So don't listen to this guy. Bitcoin is not hijacked. If Bitcoin was hijackable and hijacked, like, don't you think, like, would they really allow Bitcoin to continue to exist? Like, Bitcoin is being used for good. It's also being used for bad. And a lot of the ways that Bitcoin is being used are not things that very powerful people support. It's things that really powerful people oppose dramatically. So if it was hijackable, like wouldn't they? Oh, maybe they're waiting to hijack it in the future. Okay, come on. Okay, like people have tried to hijack it and it has failed. So on the contrary, you should look at Roger's book and Roger's ideas of Bitcoin is hijacked as being like, no, actually, think of it like this. He tried to hijack Bitcoin and it didn't work. And that's what actually happened. So, and he has done so much damage out of pure resentment. So Bitcoin is not hijacked and the solution is not barter. Barter doesn't scale.
Cash is limited.
Cash is great. Cash value melts over time and is not. You need money that works on the internet. I'm sorry, okay? Otherwise, you're not going to get nice things, okay?
Yeah.
So cash and gold don't transport over communications channels, and physically also don't transport really well. So you're left with Bitcoin, right? And also, like, okay, it's very tempting, and I get it because so many things have been scams, and so many people that you thought, like in my case, Roger, but so many people that you thought were on our side are not.
Yeah.
Like politicians that said the right things, but when they go into power, they fucking start bombing other countries. We are continuously disappointed. Yeah. And the black pill is almost addictive. You know, it's like Bitcoin is too good to be true. It must be the CIA
No, I get it. I get why they fall for that.
And I totally get it. And in order for someone to really understand Bitcoin like I do, requires a lot of time in Bitcoin, understanding the technology. And it's like, it really makes me sad because if you could see Bitcoin like I see, like when, you know, you never stop learning in Bitcoin, but really like at some point, like I've been in it for 12 years, like I understand Bitcoin, right? So people say, you never really understand Bitcoin. I mean, okay, like, yeah, theoretically, but like I understand Bitcoin fully. And I wish you could see what I see because I can see the whole picture of how it all works and how it all comes together and why it is actually resistant to co-option. And I can't even if we had 6 hours, if we had 6 hours, I could probably go a long way. But like even after 6 hours, I really couldn't fully make you see the picture that I have in my head. It takes a long time. So, you know, unfortunately, you're gonna have to take my word for it. And I hope I'm more convincing than Roger that Bitcoin is not co-optable. But the evidence is Bitcoin has been working for 16 years and it goes directly against, and a lot of people are going to say, well, yeah, Trump and BlackRock and like all these big guys, like they got into Bitcoin. So if they are pro Bitcoin,
because they have no choice.
Because they have no choice. And
they have to join.
They have to join, and like
they actually understood that they cannot win that.
And like even like guys like, you know, like the Bitcoin does not, there is no way for the US government to remain in its current form and Bitcoin existing. So some of them have understood, but some of them have not understood. Like the US government and the way that it's financed and structured cannot exist if Bitcoin becomes the global dominant form of money. And the fact that you have the US administration supporting Bitcoin it's almost like, shh, don't.
I know, don't talk too loudly.
Like, should we tell them that we're fucking we're destroying them? Like, and then that if they leave us alone, we're gonna,
or should eventually.
or should we pretend that we're on the same team? Like, what should we do? Like, this is fucking crazy. I never thought that they would support their own doom, but I think that they're dramatically underestimating Bitcoin. I think they think Bitcoin is a toy. You know, like Trump at the Bitcoin conference and when he announced, I don't know, this
play
speech,
with your Bitcoin.
Have fun with your crypto. You know,
have fun with your Bitcoin.
Have fun with your little Bitcoin. Like
he
he clearly did not understand like what we're doing, which is great. And like other companies like BlackRock, like you know, you cannot separate BlackRock from government. Like they are the financial establishment. However, contrary to politicians, they are intelligent, and they also are like, they hedge their bets, right? They are, that's what they do. They hedge, they're a fucking hedge fund. So, so they hedge. And I think that they have a selfish reason to get into Bitcoin, but so the Saylor and all these institutional guys, which some of them are worse than others, some of them are great, some of them are, you have all sorts of characters, but like people are used to the idea that he who controls the money controls the governance. In Bitcoin, it doesn't work like that, right? Bitcoin is not proof of stake. It's not Ethereum. Like you can have 1 million Bitcoins and
still not have the power.
And how can I back up this claim? Because it happened in 2017. Because you had Roger, the guy who had the most Bitcoin in the world, and Brian Armstrong and Coinbase and all these guys that combined had way more Bitcoins than Saylor. Like they had way more Bitcoins than Saylor and BlackRock. Like all of these early crypto VCs, like just, Barry Silbert and all these guys, like they were sitting on stashes of million plus Bitcoins. They tried to take it over. I'm not afraid of BlackRock. I'm not afraid of Trump taking over Bitcoin. It's just not something that we always have to be vigilant, because Bitcoin is an organism, and it's like an organism being attacked by a virus. Like we need antibodies to fight that, right? And the antibodies are the cypherpunks, right, within the ecosystem. So we have to be vigilant and develop a healthy culture of resistance to co-option. If all Bitcoin users are apathetic, Bitcoin can be co-opted.
Absolutely.
But we're not, right? And why are we not? It's because we have like a flame inside of us, and like, how are you sure that this flame is going to remain alive forever? I mean, come to a fucking Bitcoin conference.
Exactly.
Meet us, and you'll understand that like some of us would die for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to die because I have I have a little daughter now, and I like my life. But like I'm willing to go all the way. And like, who will die for the fiat system?
No one.
No one wants to die for the banks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people do, because they're being manipulated into thinking they're fighting an enemy in war, where actually they're dying for the petrodollar system.
Of course.
But like, if they were told like you will die for the fiat banking system, like nobody wants to do that. They will always fold.